Hello everybody and welcome back to the Casual Gamer. Today on Tyramist I will be teaching you the Arbiter tanking spec for Rift. On your screen now you see my soul tree as there is set up, Arbiter, Warlock, and Stormcaller. 61 Arbiter, you can autofill that with your button. Warlock, you'll want 5 of 5 in your magical affinity, and 5 of 5 in the vitality. Over in Stormcaller, 4 of 4 in high voltage, for the damage reduction of 5%, and 1 of 5 in storm energy. Your masteries for level 61, Bulwark of Souls for level 62, Proficient Restoration for level 63, Eldritch Swiftness for level 64, Sparking Destruction for level 65, your oh shit Phantom Stream. For your macros, there are only 3 specific macros that are required. You have your dungeon macro, which is just your spam abilities based with Galvanic Strike as your primary spam. Then you have your Mount Sharax cancel buff macro, which cancels the buffs of several healing specs for the Genoskoth fight. Then you have your charge consuming macro. At 75% and 25% charge, you receive shields on the way down in charge. On the way up, you receive the cleansing of the debuff from the shields. That's why you have a charge building and a charge consuming macro. Your bars should be set up in some fashion similar to this. You need, out of your Arbiter spec, you need Mana Aegis, Crystalline Shield, Shield of the North, Arcane Projection, Misdirection, Choking Flood, Icy Command, Biting Wind, Freezing Gust, Avalanche, Soothing Waters, Swirling Winds, Frozen Volition, Vortex, Crystallize, Icy Blast, and Shared Agony. Those are your combat abilities for Arbiter. For the buffs, you need Arcane Ward, Energized Vitality, Dark Armor from Warlock, Ebb and Flow, and Aqueous Blessing. You should probably put Frosted Ward on your bars. This isn't in case you are stronger than, say, your off-tank, or you're off-tanking to a weaker main tank. I don't know why you would. But this way you can cancel your own threat to allow the other tank to take threat over you. It's a courtesy thing that I do for a lot of tanks. On your bars, you should have your charge consuming, your charge building, your charge consuming macros, your interrupt, your battle charge, your 1 self heal, and your charge re-blessing ability, I guess you could call it. I'm not sure what Swirling Winds is classified as. The spec needs a few certain stats. You'll need endurance, of course, health, your mana. Intelligence is still important for your class. It boosts your dodge, guard, and block. Spell power for tanking, it still increases the amount of damage you do, which increases the amount of threat you have. Same for spell crit. You won't have as much as you would in a DPS build, but it'll have enough to make a point. Crit power is unimportant for tanking. Again, your hit, as with all specs, is very important. The thing about a tanking spec is it uses block, dodge, and guard. These are all mitigation techniques to avoid taking damage. The primary stats that you want are your guard. You need 10% to tank Raid Tier 1, which is roughly 2,800 guard. And you need approximately 3,400 guard to tank Tier 2s. I'm not even going to take a guess at Tier 3s because it's probably something over 4,000 guard. Dodge, semi-important, 7% is the soft cap as far as I am aware. Block, again, almost as important as guard, but mostly you'll get that just passively through your gear. 50%, I think, is soft cap on block. I might be wrong on that. Most tanking gear will be high in endurance and low in your primary DPS stat. But where it lacks in your DPS it will gain in a tanking stat, such as guard, block, and dodge. It's a different set of gear from your DPS gear. Even your essences will be different. But the spec is simple, fun, and by far, in my opinion, one of the easiest tanking specs in the entire game so far. Your rotation is simple. If you're a confident tank, you can just battle charge right in with your avalanche ability and start spamming your dungeon threat gaining, charge consuming. Run it a few times, and then start running your charge consuming macro. Keep an eye on your charge bar, that is the third bar over on your character profile picture. Make sure it goes up and down to 100% and as far down as it'll go. Your charge consuming macro will go black when you can no longer use the button because you don't have enough charge, as you can see here. Now, taunt is biting wind. This will force your target to attack you. That's all it's good for. You have a cooldown, Mana Aegis. Uses your mana, but it keeps you alive, obviously. Crystalline Missile, or Shield, is it's a life-death prevention ability, is the best way I can think, because I've never actually had it proc, unfortunately, so I can't describe it to a fullest extent. Shield of the North Wind, it's just an uber shield. It absorbs 85% of your incoming damage up to 100% of your health, so the more health you have, the more shield you receive. Then you've got your Icy Command pulling up to 5 targets to you. Your Choking Flood will pull 1 target to you. You gotta figure your own way of how to use those two the best. That's all player preference there. Your Misdirection, it buffs all of your raid members, all of your group members. This generates threat off of them to you should they pull an ad off of you, and for some reason you don't want to tab target to it or click on it. You hit this button as you see it moving or you see them starting to take damage, and after the first hit, all threat will generate to you. Arcane Projection is the same, but it's for a single target. So generally you'll use this on a healer or the highest DPS should you need it. Vortex is in your macro. It's just there so you can see the cooldown. Frozen Volition, it's a area effect taunt. It will take 10 enemies nearby you, best estimation 5 to 8 meters, and force them to attack you for 3 seconds. This means they come within melee range long enough for you to run your spam macro and get a couple of your threats out. Crystallize, should your mana go down below 50%, you turn this on, stops you from gaining charge, but it regenerates your mana. And it generally regenerates pretty dang fast. Icy Blast is an AE ranged ability, great for grabbing aggro on more than 6 targets at a time because it hits 10. Shared Agony is an intercept ability. You cast this on a target that is about to receive, say, on Dreknoth of Fate in Ren of Fate. He casts an ability, Doom. You have to use your intercept, in this case Shared Agony, on the target it's casted at to intercept the one shot, because as a tank you have the gear to receive the, I think it's 110k damage it does. Don't quote me on that. Swirling Winds generates 100% of your charge back. It says plus 140, but your tank spec doesn't have more than 100. It increases the damage of your charge consuming ability, so it's a great time to spam your charge macro or this Icy Blast. It also reduces the charge consuming cost of 33%, so great way to get a lot of extra damage and buffs out there. Soothing Waters, it heals you for a small amount, but you are a tank. It's not going to be amazing. It's just enough to maybe get you out of trouble. Avalanche is your battle charge. Freezing Gust interrupts. Need I say more? that is your Arbiter spec. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment, send me a message on YouTube, Google+, whisper me between the hours of 6 and 8:30 p.m. server time on Wolfsbane, Tyromist at Wolfsbane. And everyone have a nice night, a nice day, good week, good weekend. This is the Casual Gamer, logging off.